Hi, good evening. Steve Adler, Austin Mayor. Got a minute? We're going to go over the COVID numbers as we've been doing. They're tracking a little bit lower. It's possible that within the next few days, could be tomorrow, the next day, we drop below 60 for hospital admissions. If we're below 60 tomorrow, that'll take our 7-day running average also below 60. At that point, Dr. Escott probably starts seriously considering taking us out of red zone, putting us into orange zone, has us pointed in the right direction. But remember, we're only doing that because people are a lot more religious right now about wearing masks and the like. We do have some news with respect to a variant hitting Austin, and I'll get to that in just a second. But we're going to go ahead and start with the slides, as we usually do with the dashboards. We're going to begin with the key indicators so that you can see those numbers. Number of people, new admissions, 64. That gives our 7-day average to 63. Tomorrow, when we look at the 7 days, the number that will be 8 days ago that drops off was 88. So in order to pick up 3, we have to be 21 less than 88, because that's the number that drops off. So 65 actually will take us to a number that is beginning to dip below than 60 by a percentage. If we get below 60, then we may actually really own 59. But we'll see. The 64 we have today is a good number. The 63 on the 7-day moving average is a good number for us to see, 63. You can see how it's mapped out on the color chart and how we're getting closer to this number that might get us into the orange zone. Number of new cases still high. That's a concern, and that indicates that we're not dropping off as strongly as we would like. 542 new cases. That's almost the 7-day moving average, but a little bit above. Positivity is going down, but going down real slowly, 12.8 to 12.4. It's headed in the right direction, but I wish it was moving more quickly for us. Let's go ahead and get to the next dashboard that shows us how we're doing on the census in our ICUs and hospitals. You can see the number of people in our hospitals tonight. Census is 499. The 7-day moving average is 523. That includes, by the way, 48 people in our alternate care site for a total of 499. ICU, remember we were trying to not go above 200. We got up to 190 something. Now down to 148. 7-day moving average is 153. So we're just below the 7-day moving average. Ventilators 101. 7-day moving average is 98. With the number of new cases, the 542 pushes us up to 70,631. The people that passed away, 677. And if you will recall, that is 5 more than folks that we had yesterday. So 5 families dealing with the loss of a loved one. The University of Texas dashboard, working off of the numbers here, the weekend, because they're usually several days behind us, is showing an R factor, which has dropped significantly below 1. I think that's a little bit optimistic because it's reflecting the weekend numbers. Weekend numbers usually low because people don't like to go in the hospital over the weekend. They figure they'll go early the following week. You shouldn't wait. You should go to the hospital. But the R factor prediction or modeling from the University of Texas has it significantly below 1 tonight. Let's hope that we can hold on to that number. We got some numbers about unemployment in our city, and there's a relationship between unemployment and health and safety. So I wanted to share some of those numbers with you before we sign off. Let me see if I can get that for you. Let's share the screen, get into our deal here, and then I want you to see what the unemployment rate is in Austin compared to other cities. You can see that in Austin, at all Texas cities here, beginning 2010, have generally gone down. This is Austin down here in the green down at the bottom. Our unemployment rate, lowest of cities in the state. Everybody went up, real high unemployment with COVID. When it hit, everybody went up really high. And then you see the recovery that happens after that. Austin came down farther than the other cities did. When we had the recession several years ago, Austin was one of the last cities in the country to go into the recession, one of the first to pull out. We're finding that here with respect to COVID as well. We still have tons of people out of work, way too many people out of work. Our unemployment rate right now is higher than it was going back all the way to 10 years ago, as we've been going down since then. So our unemployment rate is much higher, and there are a lot of people hurting and in pain because of that. But it's also important to note that our economy has the strength and the resilience to be able to perhaps recover faster, as we're seeing. Not only in Texas, but here is the best performing among the top 50 metros in terms of jobs. Our unemployment rate, by the way, I think is the third lowest among cities. Here also is best performing among the top 50 metros with respect to jobs. Non-farm payroll jobs, you can see what our number was December of 2019 and how it dropped in December of 2020. That's a loss of 11,500 jobs as a percentage. That's a percent down. You can see that the next faring city is Dallas, lost 50,000 jobs. That was 1.8% of their jobs. Austin, 1% of our jobs. Third only to Salt Lake City and to Indianapolis. While we were looking at that number and talking about unemployment rates, just wanted to point out to you that one of the reasons why Austin has such low violent crime rates, and we are one of the lowest in the country among major cities in terms of overall violent crime rates in our city, putting all the political rhetoric aside. Higher unemployment rates are linked to higher violent crime rates, and the reverse is also true. Lower unemployment rates generally trend to lower violent crime rates. Here's the unemployment rate. These are by state, though, not by city. And you can see the unemployment rates that are down at 2.5%. These are 2018 numbers, by the way, crime rates and unemployment, obviously pre-COVID. And you can see what the crime rates are in these cities, down around 200. But take a look at the states with the highest unemployment during that period of time, 2018, and you can see just how higher unemployment rates, you can see just how high the violent crime rates were. I just thought that was good information for us to have when we think about overall what's happening in the city. I really do think we should be proud that Austin leads Texas in economic resilience. We are going to build back better. We're going to meet our challenges head on. That's why there's a real focus right now in the city council on homelessness, considering a new motel purchase tomorrow, but also introducing and launching a program to more effectively deal with the tents and homelessness that we see in the community, trying to pull people into better, safer places that are tied to permanent supportive housing. So we're just not moving people and warehousing them somewhere else. That's what we're going to need to do. February is going to be a month, I think we're going to see some community gatherings, real big, real broad, that I think and I hope will launch us on an implementation schedule that we all know to actually end homelessness in the city. I'm excited about that process, excited how broad the participants are. More about that over the next week or so. I want to conclude by talking a little bit about vaccines. Austin Public Health is awaiting, has not gotten yet, but is awaiting the second dose allocations from the state. We're told that we'll be getting those real shortly. I want you to know that if through Austin Public Health you got your first shot, you will get your second shot. You don't need to be going to the website to check on that. Austin Public Health will reach out to you in order to schedule your ability to come in and get that. We're hoping to get people around the 28th day that they got the first vaccine, but the studies indicate that you can get it 30, 60 days after that and still maintain effectiveness. Obviously, we're going to try and beat that considerably, get as close to 28 days as we can, given the supply that we get from the state. Also want to let you know that just released here in the last few minutes, Austin Public Health learned today that we have our very first case here in Travis County of the UK variant of the COVID-19 virus. Now, the fact that we just got our very first confirmed case of that variant does not mean it just arrived. It's probably been here and already circulating. We just haven't known it because we haven't found it. But last week, there was a case that came in Houston that was identified of the UK variant, and someone had it who had no history of traveling, which means it was already being passed around in Houston by just in what's called community spread. So we know that variant is in our city now. Although our Austin Public Health people told us they expected that it was already here. I think that it's important for us to remember that all the science and data shows us that so far that while this variant may spread more quickly, be more contagious than the COVID-19 that most of us have in this community or had, that we see in this community, while it's more contagious, spread more quickly, that it is no more deadly than the virus that has already been here. That becomes another really good reason to make sure that you're wearing your mask when you head out, when you're around anybody that you're not living with, that you social distance, avoid large groups. Let's wait till we get into the orange zone when we can get to a little bit larger grouping. But now that we know that other variant is here, we just have to redouble our efforts to protect ourselves. And with our numbers going down, it looks like we're doing that in the community. Hopefully, with the numbers driving down, we'll be able to keep more kids going back to school. We'll be able to open more businesses, which is a critical thing to do. We have so many businesses that are on the ropes. Again, I urge all of you, try to do some business with some of our local businesses, restaurants, retail, get some gift cards, buy some merchandise, so that we can keep our businesses local here moving forward with all the rest of us. And with that, I wish you all a good evening. Stay safe. And tomorrow is a city council meeting. I'll do an Instagram when it's over just to touch base, but there won't be a got a minute. And I'll be back with you all on Friday. Good night.